What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Cage Nation. This is Kevin Jackowitz, and this is the Cage Review. Today we're going to look at SmackDown Live for February 20th, 2018. This is kind of building towards WrestleMania, but there's another pay-per-view right in between there, and I can't remember what the hell it is. So that tells you how good SmackDown Live's been doing. So we start out with the obvious. They've been starting out with AJ Styles a lot now. AJ Styles is clearly miles above everybody else in SmackDown right now as far as ability, and the fans are just solidly behind him. So he has been at the forefront of virtually every SmackDown, which is kind of cool, but they really need to have other guys in there that they're building. So we start out AJ Styles. He's coming in. He's talking about this fatal five-way that they're going to have. And he's talking about every opponent individually, why they can't beat him. And then he comes to the last guy, which was supposed to be Baron Corbin, but Corbin's music hits. And he's like, I know you're not about to say you can beat me, blah, blah, blah. Baron Corbin is absolutely pointless in the WWE. He is big, and that is it. Do not like him. He's got a decent look to him. He's not good on the mic. He's definitely not good in the ring. So, yeah, why they're still pushing him, I don't know. Kevin Owens comes out and he starts talking about how neither one of them are going to win, and that brings out Shane O'Mac because Kevin starts talking about the conspiracy theories again about Shane McMahon has a vendetta against Owens and Sami Zayn. So Shane McMahon decides that he's going to make two matches, one being Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler, and the other is going to be AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin in the main event. So I am already disappointed in the main event, because while AJ Styles is truly phenomenal, Baron Corbin needs to be carried every match he's in. Sorry, he does. I know there are a few fans of Corbin out there. Don't care, not sorry. The guy is slow. He's out of place a lot of times. Not impressed whatsoever. So, commercial break hits, comes back to Owens versus Ziggler. Ziggler beat Zayn last week to get into this fatal five-way. And now the question is can Ziggler beat Owens? Well, Ziggler is about to beat Owens at the end of the match. Sami Zayn runs to the ring and stops kind of right at ringside, distracts Ziggler. Owens catches Ziggler from behind, and Owens picks up the win. This is another classic example of WWE, what the fuck are you doing? You just brought Ziggler back. You started a push with him. The guy deserves a push. He is one of the hardest workers in the business. He has pulled off great matches, for years. And you cut it off with a clean loss to Kevin Owens right off the bat, 2 weeks into it. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Well, I say a clean win. It was actually kind of a tainted win, but either way, a loss for Ziggler at this point makes no sense whatsoever. The rest of the match was kind of forgettable. There were no really big spots, nothing incredibly exciting about it. Pretty standard match. So, yeah, this was just bad booking all the way around, I think. I don't like the match. I don't like the win for Owens. I think it's stupid. So, it is what it is. Next bit we have is Jinder Mahal coming out to do a promo. Now, we could already establish so many things wrong with Jinder Mahal coming out to cut a promo. I'll give him credit where it's due, but the guy has not been able to sell himself on mic. He starts talking about how Bobby Roode and Randy Orton are at each other's throats and there's some bad blood there. Bobby Roode comes out, says, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to, create this tension between me and Randy Orton. Randy Orton comes out and doesn't really have much to say, and just starts going to wanting to RKO everybody, except he goes to RKO Bobby Roode. Roode reverses it and does his spike DDT, and then Jinder Mahal gets Bobby Roode in the Colossus, and for the second week in a row, Jinder Mahal stands tall over Bobby Roode and Randy Orton, which makes zero sense to me. First of all, he's not even in a match with these guys, unless they're going to try to build like a three-way for WrestleMania. It doesn't make any sense. And, I mean, a triple threat, okay, that might be a decent match. Randy Orton's not getting any younger, and Mahal's not that good in the ring, so you would have to have Bobby Roode carry most of that match. I think the only way that they could make it work is a triple threat, honestly, because you'd have to have, one guy reasonably fresh at any moment in that match. So, we'll see what they do there. Then you have a Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan promo backstage where they're talking about what just happened with Jinder Mahal, Roode, and Orton. And Daniel Bryan wants to put Jinder Mahal in a match with Bobby Roode. Shane McMahon isn't hearing it, and he's like, we just don't ever seem to be on the same page right anymore. You keep giving these guys who are just interfering and cheating and the usual bad guy shticks their place. And so Shane McMahon says, you know what, we're going to have Randy Orton versus Bobby Roode for the US title, and that's the final decision. And then Daniel Bryan cuts this almost stink face, and he's like, yeah, boss. And so they're creating the tension still between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, and I don't necessarily know where that's going, because unless they finally give Daniel Bryan the okay to wrestle again, there's really not a lot they can do with it. Everybody's hoping that that's going to be the case, that they're finally going to have a WrestleMania match between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, but I mean, you're talking a month away now. So you don't have a lot of time to build this, really. I mean, you've been building the tension between the two, but you haven't built a match. You haven't really done the work behind it. So, I mean, they're going to have to do something soon. So after that bit, you have Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Naomi versus the Riot Squad. Last couple of weeks, the whole storyline has been Charlotte Flair getting revenge for the Riot Squad coming in and just beating everybody down. She's already beat two members of the Riot Squad, and now Ruby Riot's the last one left. So instead, the Riot Squad, Ruby Riot in particular, asks for this match, and the whole setup is that they're going to figure out a way to win this match and hopefully establish Ruby Riot versus Charlotte at the next pay-per-view, which, again, I can't remember the name of it for some reason. Too many pay-per-views lately. So, yeah, Riot Squad does get the clean win at the end, and that sets up Charlotte versus Riot. Then you have a backstage segment with Owens and Zayn, and it's the same thing they've been doing. It's like Owens and Zayn aren't exactly on the same page anymore. A lot of friction between the two of them, and they're building toward that friend split, which this is one match I am really looking forward to if they do this at WrestleMania, which it kind of looks like where this is going, is that they're going to have the split up between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and they're going to face off at WrestleMania, and I hope that's what they're doing. If you've ever watched NXT, some of the best matches there were Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. These guys have literally been friends their entire lives. They grew up together. They went to wrestling school together in Canada. And they know each other so well in the ring that their matches are just, they're poetry. Like, they really are. These guys are phenomenal. And they're also very hard-hitting matches, too. And Sami Zayn, he's one of the more athletic guys on the roster. He can do some very acrobatic moves. And honestly, so can Kevin Owens for a man his size. That guy can move in ways a big man like that shouldn't be able to. So I'm really hoping that that is the build that they're going with. After that, you have New Day versus Benjamin and Gable. I said last week how I thought that it was really stupid that they were building Benjamin and Gable. They beat Fandango and Breeze, and then they beat the Ascension, and then they got their momentum stopped with a clean loss to the New Day. And if you notice, WWE has a really bad habit of doing this. They get these new guys or these new teams or even the new characters, and they start to build them up for a couple of weeks, and then they just completely cut off the momentum and wipe out everything they've done for the last 2 to 3 weeks. And it makes no sense because they put in all this time and effort to making these characters, these groups, seem, you know, like they can't lose, and then just a clean loss on a regular show makes no sense whatsoever. You lose all that build, and that's one thing that WWE really suffers from nowadays. They forget what it is to truly build a character, build a storyline. So from there, the Bludgeon Brothers come out, and I don't know how many weeks they're going to keep this going. There's a couple of nobodies that nobody's ever heard of, don't know their names, don't know who they are, just a couple of local guys, probably in a wrestling training facility. And it was a complete squash match. Harper and Rowan, you know, they're being built as beasts, but I've said it a few times already, you cannot build somebody as this beast character, you know, somebody who's just going to run over the competition with a couple of guys that weigh 200 pounds put together and nobody even knows who they are. You're not going to build a character like that. And you would think that WWE would get that through, because at this point, like, you can even see the audience reactions. Like, nobody cares. These guys come out, they squash a couple of nobodies, they leave. And that whole slot could have been filled with something more useful. So of course the Bludgeon Brothers win. Whatever. After that, you get a horrible Corbin Baron bit. Usually, I don't really comment on this whole trend now where SmackDown is showing these, well, I guess Raw's starting it now too, these like iPhone selfie interviews that the wrestlers are doing. And I don't comment on them because I just, don't think it looks professional. It doesn't look good. It's usually very cheesy. But Corbin, he's so terrible at promos to begin with that putting this on there, it just makes him look, it makes him look stupid. It really does. So he's, you know, talking about he's going to beat AJ Styles and he's going to win this Fatal 5-Way, and sounding somewhat mentally challenged the whole time. The guy can't even put a sentence structure together right. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm being too hard on him, but the guy just doesn't have the personality to cut off a real promo that he's practiced, let alone something like this. That leads right into the last match where it's AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin. Of course, AJ Styles has to carry the match. Like I said, in the ring, Corbin is slow, he's clumsy, he's just not that great. So, not a memorable match at all, especially for a main event match for SmackDown. AJ pulls out the clean win, and then Owens and Zayn come out and destroy both Styles and Corbin, hoping to get, you know, some kind of unfair advantage for the Fatal 5-Way. This show, I mean, honestly, the SmackDown in general has really lacked when compared to Raw lately, and it used to be the exact other way around. SmackDown was like a head and shoulders above Raw when it came to everything, and now they're just hurting, and Raw is doing everything right. This show, I mean, there's really not much that I can say. I'm talking 4 out of 10. They did a lot of things wrong here. You have AJ Styles, Dolph Ziggler, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Baron Corbin. And who do you use as the highlight? The worst of them all. I understand that they've been doing a lot with AJ Styles, Owens, and Zayn, so put Ziggler in there. You just brought him back. Give him the push that he needs. But no, they use this idiot. Jinder Mahal. Do I even need to say anything? The Shane McMahon Daniel Bryan thing is intriguing. It's nice to see where they're going with this, but we don't know where they're going with it yet, so it's kind of like, you know, if Daniel Bryan can't come back to the ring, nobody's gonna care. Now, I'd like to think that he is coming back, but it's been a while and the doctors have not released him yet, so it may come down to a point where Daniel Bryan at the end of his contract has already said if he's not going to be able to wrestle for WWE, he's going to go somewhere else. So maybe this is a build to him getting fired, which is not entirely impossible. I'm hoping they just give him the chance. I mean, if he gets hurt again, hey, you know, quite frankly, that's on him. It's in the contract. He is an independent contractor. If he's that determined to get out there and put his body at risk, and that's what he wants to do, well, then if he's going to do it, you might as well be smart enough to earn the paycheck from it, because the guy is a draw. So, I don't know. SmackDown Live, they have a lot of work to do. And even towards WrestleMania, I mean, right now it's looking like AJ Styles versus Nakamura, and if they screw that up, then they might as well hang up the hat and just cancel the show, because they're going to have so much backlash. I can see the crowd really going absolutely nuts if they give someone else the title at the next pay-per-view, because quite frankly, AJ Styles and Nakamura is a dream match that people have been wanting for a while. And now they're teasing it, so if they snatch it back at WrestleMania season, then they need to fire everybody on the writing staff. So that's my takeaway from it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you like the review, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz. Cage Nation out.